Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. I'll do one of those.
Welcome,
Here we go.
welcome. Yeah, so this is the one that Cheryl would like to view.
Oh wow, it's
I'll show
stunning.
you a couple of-
I like that Piaget as well. It's
Yeah.
really nice.
That is super nice.
Yeah. That's made for your wrist, not mine. Yep. Wow.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Piaget holds the record for the world's thinnest automatic watch as it comes.
Would you guys like some water or coffee or anything?
Yeah,
before
coffee would be
start?
nice.
Coffee. Let's do coffee.
So if you look at the watches we wear to work, right? So Romeo's got his Panerai and his Rolex. Yeah. I've got a Panerai and a Rolex, so you might as well have a Panerai and a Rolex.
The Reverso, I think, is something that I want to get myself in a year's time.
Okay.
It's more of a goal.
I like that.
This watch is beautiful, although I've got armor. Yes. And literally 2 weeks ago, I was looking at Panerais and I was like, I want a Panerai. So I'm going to go with the Panerai. It's talking to me.
That's the one.
It's saying, please take me. I am beautiful.
Yeah, it is
Amazing.
nice. That's really nice.
It's stunning.
And it's got the Cyclops inverted.
Yeah, that's such a
wow,
nice
yeah.
feature. You don't see that on a watch quite often, so it's really nice to have a Cyclops, but not really take any space on the dial.
So here we are at Topwatch in the beautiful city of Cape Town. There's a lot of history here with me and Yvette here at Topwatch. Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm very good.
Good.
So we're back here watch shopping again. My colleague and friend Cheryl has already walked away with a nice piece for herself, but it's my turn now. A little bit of history. So about 3-4 years ago, I walked in and I bought this very watch here for the first time. It was my first foray into the higher end luxury watch. I've had a couple of nice watches before that. I've had a Bell & Ross, I've had a Tudor, I've had an Oris, but I never really went into the next level of luxury watches, which I think is where Omega really starts. Since then, I have upped the watch game significantly. I've entered the world of Rolex, AP, JLC, IWC, etc. So there's many different watches that I've acquired since. So we're here today, and Yvette really wants to show me some nice pieces. So over to you. What have you got here on the table today? There's a nice mix, and I see that, and I know that you know that I'm looking for a particular watch, but we'll get to that one last. So why don't you tell me what we've got here? What makes each one special?
Yeah, well, thank you for coming back to Topwatch. We always appreciate our customers returning for more, and absolutely a great place to start in the Omega, and where people start to get really addicted to watches.
Absolutely.
So yeah, really glad that you're enjoying the Planet Ocean. It's a really impressive watch. Like I said, this is just where people start getting addicted to watches and wanting more.
What's on your wrist today?
Wristwatch check for me today. I am wearing the Rolex Explorer 2 16570, which is the GMT function and the polar white dial.
It's a stunning watch. And do you just wear the shop's watches, or you collect your own as well?
So we do kind of wear the shop's watches when they come in before we refurbish them, before we sell them. This watch, however, is my own that I've also purchased from Topwatch. So since my entry into the watch business, this has kind of been a grail for me.
And it's one of few watches where actually the white dial is the more popular of the two, between the black and the white, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you actually see it changing over time. At the moment, the white dial, very hard to find. But we found a couple of years ago that you couldn't find a black dial.
Okay.
And the same happened with the Rolex Daytona. At the moment, again, white dial is what people want, and they actually sell at a bit of a premium, up to 20,000 Rand more than you can expect to pay for a black dial.
So right now the hottest Rolex, is that still a Daytona? Is it a Submariner? What is the hottest Rolex in the market right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the hottest watch in the luxury watch business right now is Rolex, and definitely the Daytona. Daytona, various models, even from the platinum model, some of the gold models, but definitely stainless steel, ceramic bezel, white dial. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of values that these watches are trading at in the second-hand market, you've got the new watch retailing at about 170,000 Rand. Those guys, if you are lucky enough to get your name on a 10-year waiting list and actually buy that watch today for 170, you can sell it into the pre-owned space, somebody like us, for over 300,000 Rand, and people abroad are starting to pay 400,000 Rand for that watch already.
So question for you, right? If you're lucky enough with an AD to get one and you go and sell it the day after, surely you'll never get on a list again.
So no, the guys need to kind of keep that a little bit discreet.
Okay.
So the dealers, so the ADs want to sell these watches to guys who are going to wear them, who are going to enjoy them. But unfortunately, the word has gotten out there that people can make 100% on a Rolex if you get the watch today. If that word does come out, they will not get another watch from the AD. Absolutely.
It's absolutely crazy that a brand like Rolex, which I love, by the way, I think it's my favorite watch brand.
Yeah.
The reason why it's my favorite watch brand is not because of what's inside of the watch, it's the company. Yeah. So all other companies, the majority of the watch brands are owned by an enormous company, either Swatch Group or Richemont. There are a few independents like AP, Patek, and some micro brands which I also love. But the big thing is that the family-owned watches, Patek, AP, they are for profit. The big multinationals like Richemont, Swatch, they're for profit. Rolex, of course, not for profit.
Yes.
That's my favorite bit about them. The fact that I know that me buying a Rolex is actually contributing back into some sort of charitable cause somewhere.
Yes, absolutely.
And of course the employees of Rolex also being very well paid as a result. I don't know if you know this, but
for sure.
Because of the foundation that holds Rolex, the mandate on that foundation is that the employees must be, from the bottom to the top, must be exceptionally well paid, which makes Rolex have the lowest attrition of any company in the world. Less than 1% of people that start at Rolex leave Rolex until they retire. So if Yvette or Lawrence wants a job there, we have to wait for someone to retire or die. It's wonderful.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's incredible. So, and I think that's also why we won't suddenly see an increase in supply in watches. They don't need to make more. They don't want to make more money. You know, they've got a certain capacity to make a certain amount of watches, and with a growing popularity, and they're just not going to make suddenly a lot more watches.
Well, they do make 1 million pieces a year.
They do. It's just not enough.
Of watches.
It's just not enough. Talking about what's inside Rolex, if we can have a look at one of these pieces. So this is the Zenith slimline watch, which is a really nice dressy watch in 40 millimeters. And speaking about the brand Zenith, is that Rolex actually used Zenith to manufacture one of the first movements that they put in the Rolex Daytona. So this is quite an incredible brand as well.
So it's the El Primero movement that they used inside of the...
Absolutely, yeah. And you actually still find those Daytonas around, obviously pre-owned, they don't make that new. But if you are able to find a Rolex Daytona with the Zenith movement, it's quite a bit more valuable than the actual in-house movement.
If you buy a Zenith El Primero, which has the same movement in it that what Rolex used to use, and that makes that Rolex more popular, why is a Zenith's resale value so poor?
Yeah, that's the thing about it. It's actually harder to explain why is the Rolex value so much more.
Yeah, I think it's brand.
Yeah, because in terms of pre-owned value, so and we've kind of become a bit of a forerunner in the country, and what we can find is that most brands pre-owned sell at about 50% of the new price. Yeah. Depending on popularity and how many watches are
including
available.
This.
Exactly.
I bought this 40 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
And I will not be told that the Rolex movement is better than Omega coaxial escapement.
No, absolutely not. And the thing is that with the Zenith movement in that Daytona, it's not the movement that's making it more valuable. It's the fact that there are fewer of those models. So we have another Daytona where there's actually a little bit of a defect on the dial, where there's a space in the word chronograph. We call it the APH because the APH is a bit split from the rest of the word. They are more valuable only because there were fewer of them ever manufactured. Yeah.
All right, so we've got this Zenith. We'll try that on in a second. There's always something 40, max 40, or minimum 42 mil on my wrist, but normally 44 and above. This is 45 and a half. Does that not look too small on a wrist like mine, do you think?
It could. I think the main thing about watches, and that is with ever buying any kind of watch, is you need to put them on, because you can always look at the size on paper, but you never know what the watch is going to actually look like on your wrist. So yeah, we've got a pretty thin case as well, which is not what you're used to with that one, but I would say that it absolutely works. And the thing is that you're used to the size that you see on your wrist, so it might look small, but to me that don't see your arm every day, it absolutely looks fine.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice. That's very nice.
It's a really nice alternative dress watch for the night out.
My wife keeps telling me you need a nice dress watch.
That's the one.